Welcome, and thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive. Now, if you're an English learner and you already come, so far on this incredible journey, you've mastered the basics, you can hold conversations, navigate daily life, then seriously, well done. Your dedication is amazing. You've climbed past those initial plateaus, and maybe you're looking for what's next. Perhaps sometimes it feels like, well, you're using the same familiar words for familiar things. They work, sure, but maybe there's that little itch, that desire for something richer, that extra layer of expression, the kind of nuance that really lifts your fluency, lets you speak with the precision you feel inside. If that sounds like you, then you're definitely in the right place, ready to push into some really advanced linguistic territory. Today, we are embarking on a deep dive into a topic we all connect with, I think. It's like a universal language itself, food and drink. Now, you might be thinking, food and drink? Come on, I learned bread, milk, coffee ages ago. And yeah, you'd be absolutely right. That basic stuff, we often pick it up really early. But our mission today is a bit different. We're exploring that next level, the C1, C2 kind of terms and phrases. And these aren't just fancier synonyms. They're really the tools that unlock truly fluent, vivid, deep conversations. Conversations about everything from that first sip of morning tea right through to some complex gourmet meal. So this isn't just about like memorizing more words. It's about gaining new ways to express yourself, new layers of understanding. It's about letting your English really shine, reflecting the sophisticated thoughts you already have.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is understanding that jump. The difference between, say, B2 level English and the C1 or C2 we're aiming for. At B2, you're perfectly capable. You can exist in English, right? You can travel, do many jobs, handle most social situations, pretty comfortably, too. You get your basic needs across. But stepping up to C1, and especially C2, that's where you don't just communicate, you articulate.
Articulate. Good word.
Right. You get this complete fluency for really nuanced conversations, expressing subtle meanings, irony, complex feelings. The vocabulary we're going to dig into today isn't just for, everyday chit-chat. It's the kind of sophisticated language you might find in maybe a really well-written food blog.
Or a restaurant review.
Exactly. Or even a novel where a meal is described with a real detail, real feeling. It's also the precise language you'd use if you're talking to a proper foodie, someone who really appreciates cooking.
Or just someone who loves to cook themselves.
Precisely. So by mastering these terms, you're doing way more than just adding words. You're gaining precision, adding color, injecting real depth. You get to say exactly what you mean instead of just sort of settling for being understood.
And that really is the heart of it today, isn't it? We've put together, well, what we think is a fantastic collection. It's 22 advanced words and phrases, all carefully chosen at that C1 to C2 level and all circling around this rich world of food and drink. But we're not just going to list them off like a textbook. No way. We're going to uncover them through kind of story, a narrative, journeying through different food moments, hopefully making it engaging and memorable, too. Get ready for some of those aha moments, hopefully. We really think you'll find ways to use these words right away in your daily life, your conversations, just improving your overall feel for the language. So let's dive in. Let's get started on this linguistic culinary adventure. Okay, let's kick things off right where most of us start our day, our morning routines. That first thought of maybe getting a drink, that initial feeling of hunger when you wake up. Pretty universal, right? But even these really simple, almost automatic actions, they hold a surprising amount of advanced vocabulary, words that can totally change how we describe these everyday things. How do we get beyond just saying, I drink water or I make coffee? How do we capture the feeling of it?
That's a really good point. It's amazing how even the simplest acts have these fantastic descriptive verbs. Take, for instance, to gulp down.
Gulp down, okay.
It's not just drinking. It implies drinking really quickly, often because you have to or you're super thirsty.
Yeah.
You might say, before I even look at my emails, I force myself to gulp down a big glass of water,
Yeah.
to get hydrated.
Right, especially if you're not a morning person.
Exactly.
Oh.
Or maybe after a workout, after that tough run, I just gulp down a glass of orange juice. You feel that instant relief. The key nuance is the speed. It comes from the verb to gulp, meaning to swallow, but adding down, that really emphasizes the speed, the almost uncontrolled quickness of it. It's very visceral.
It absolutely is. You get that picture of urgency straight away. Okay. And then, for so many of us, the next essential step, caffeine. How do we talk about making that crucial first cup in a more sophisticated way?
Right. Well, for that, we have the verb to brew.
The brew.
This is quite specific. It's really only used for making coffee or tea by adding hot water to the beans or the tea bag.
Mm-hmm.
For loads of people, this is like the sensory anchor of their morning. Fills the kitchen with that great smell. You might hear someone say quite lovingly, "The absolute highlight of my morning is the fresh pot of coffee my partner brews every single day."
Ah, nice. It sounds quite deliberate, almost ritualistic.
It does. And what's also interesting is that brew can be a noun too, especially in British English. You might be around someone's house and they'll just ask, "Fancy a brew?"
You mean tea or coffee?
Exactly. "Would you like a cup of tea or coffee?" It just shows how embedded it is in the daily routine and the culture.
That's a great point about culture. And speaking of senses, that amazing smell. Fresh coffee, something delicious cooking. How do I describe that feeling, that smell, with more depth? This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Capturing sensations, satisfaction.
Well, for a pleasant, really distinctive smell, we use the adjective aromatic. It suggests something rich, complex, inviting, like walking into a spice shop. Spices like cardamom and cinnamon make a curry an incredibly aromatic dish. It draws you in before you even taste it.
So it's more than just smells good.
Much more. It implies complexity, a distinctiveness,
Yeah.
often used in, food writing or reviews. It suggests quality. And just a quick note on pronunciation, we have aroma, the noun, and aromatic, the adjective.
Got it.
And while it's usually positive, you can use it sarcastically.
Oh, really? How?
Well, if something smells really bad, like, I don't know, an old gym sock,
Ugh.
you might say, with a bit of a smile, "Oh, very aromatic,"
Yeah.
implying the total opposite. It's a fun little linguistic twist.
Huh. I like that. Okay, so still on drinking quickly, but maybe not that first reluctant glass of water. Is there another way?
Yes, slightly different context, perhaps. We have a swig, that's the noun, and to swig, the verb.
A swig.
A swig is a good amount of liquid drunk quickly, often straight from a bottle or maybe a flask. And to swig is the verb, to take a large, quick mouthful. Imagine a hiker. They've just climbed a mountain, amazing view.
Yeah.
They might pause and take a big swig from their flask of iced tea.
Yeah.
Quick, satisfying.
So you'd say take a swig.
That's the most common way, definitely. Take a swig is the stronger collocation, much more natural than just have a swig.
Right.
It paints that picture quick, maybe a bit unceremonious, often outdoors or during activity.
Right. Okay. So I've got hydration, caffeine. As the morning wears on, we start thinking about actual food. Our body starts signaling. How do we talk about that feeling of getting hungry?
Exactly. Moving towards meals, we have ways to describe that buildup of hunger, and then finishing the meal too. First off, there's a great phrase, to work up an appetite.
Work up an appetite. I like that.
It doesn't just mean get hungry. It specifically suggests doing something, often something active or strenuous, that makes you feel hungry. Like, I spent all morning gardening, really digging in, and I properly worked up an appetite.
Or like after a long walk on the beach.
Perfect example. That sea air always makes me work up an appetite for some fish and chips. It captures that feeling of earned hunger. Hunger from effort makes the meal feel even better.
That sets the scene perfectly for when the food's actually ready. It's there in front of us. That eagerness. How do we describe starting to eat?
Ah, that wonderful moment. For that, we use to tuck in or to tuck into.
Tuck in, tuck in.
It means starting to eat with real enthusiasm, real eagerness, often because you're really hungry or the food just looks amazing. Think of a big family meal, maybe a roast dinner that took hours. It finally hits the table. Someone would definitely say, "Right, everyone, it's ready. Let's tuck in." Or, "Come on, tuck into this."
It sounds so welcoming, eager.
It really does. It captures that collective rush to enjoy the food, almost like settling in, getting comfortable with the meal.
And sometimes, when you've really worked up that appetite, your eating might be less delicate, more efficient.
Huh. Yes, indeed. When hunger really bites, speed is often key. For eating super quickly, almost aggressively, lots of swallowing, we use to gobble down.
Gobble down, like a turkey.
Kind of. It emphasizes both the speed and the quantity. It's often used for animals, yeah. My dog always gobbles down his dinner the second I put the bowl down.
But you can use it for people, too.
Oh, absolutely. I missed lunch, so I basically gobbled down that sandwich in about 2 minutes flat. The down part adds emphasis, like the food is just vanishing.
Right.
But it's similar to gobble, a bit like sit versus sit down, just reinforces the action.
Okay. And then the grand finale. After all that tucking in, maybe even gobbling down, what if there's absolutely nothing left?
When every single scrap is gone, that's when you've polished off something.
Polished off, like polishing a plate clean?
Exactly that image. It means finishing all of something, especially a large amount of food. The plate looks polished because everything's gone. You might say slightly impressed or shocked. I can't believe you polished off that entire pizza by yourself.
Especially after already having starters.
Right. It perfectly describes consuming the whole thing, often impressively, leaving nothing. Total consumption.
Okay, so we've journeyed from that first morning sip right through to polishing off a meal. But beyond just the eating, many of us really find joy, creativity in the kitchen itself, trying out new recipes or maybe just quickly making old favorites. So this next part, let's look at how we use advanced words to talk about the cooking process, the results, and maybe even being efficient in the kitchen.
That's a perfect transition, because advanced learners need ways to express cooking speed, resourcefulness, and then the quality of the taste, but in a more, sophisticated way. For instance, to whip up. That's a brilliant phrasal verb, really common.
Whip up. Sounds fast.
It is. It means cooking something quickly, often using whatever ingredients you happen to have around. It suggests ease, maybe spontaneity. You might reassure hungry friends, don't worry guys, I'll just whip up a quick pasta dish.
Or the classic beans on toast you mentioned.
Exactly. I'll whip up a gourmet feast of beans on toast.
Which brings us back to that lovely British cultural note. The emergency meal.
The ultimate emergency meal. So whip up really captures that quick, resourceful, often unfussy cooking style.
I love that. Okay, so we've whipped something up. Now, how do we talk about how good it tastes? Beyond just tasty, what if it's really, really good?
For that, flavorsome is a fantastic adjective. It carries much more weight than just tasty.
Flavorsome.
It means delicious, full of flavor. It suggests a depth, a complexity that's really satisfying. For example, the slow-cooked stew was incredibly flavorsome. You could taste all the herbs. Or the marinade made the chicken wonderfully flavorsome. It really implies a rich, impactful taste. And a enunciation note here, those two schwa sounds, flavorsome.
Flavorsome. Got it. Used in reviews, maybe.
Definitely. Or just when you're talking with someone who appreciates good food.
Okay, and building on that, what if something looks so good or sounds so good when someone describes it that you immediately want it, that feeling?
Leading perfectly from flavorsome, yes.
Yeah.
That's mouth-watering.
Mouth-watering. Literally makes your mouth water.
Exactly. It's an adjective that vividly describes food that looks or sounds so appealing, it triggers that physical reaction, that instant desire to eat it. Think about looking at photos in a really good cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
The pictures in that dessert cookbook are just mouth-watering. I want to make everything. Or talking about a meal you had, they brought out this mouth-watering steak, perfectly cooked. It tasted as amazing as it looked.
It's all about that immediate appeal, the anticipation.
Precisely. The powerful sensory pull, even before you taste it. A great word for describing a lure.
These words really do bring food to life. Okay, let's switch gears slightly to the practical side. We all love tasty food, but easy prep, easy cleanup, that's often just as important. What's the term for a meal that ticks those boxes?
The holy grail for busy people. That would be the wonderfully practical one-pot meal.
One-pot meal. Makes sense.
It's exactly what it sounds like. A whole meal cooked entirely in, well, one pot or one pan. Massively simplifies the cooking. But the real beauty, as you said, is often the cleanup afterwards.
Minimal washing up. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After a long day at work, a hearty chickpea curry is perfect because it's a one-pot meal, barely any washing up. And it's interesting. Listen how we say it naturally, not usually one pot. Is the two separate words.
More like one pot.
Yeah, it flows together. One pot meal. That's connected speech, assimilation. Sounds very natural.
Good tip. And still on cleanup or just eating messily sometimes? Those little bits that fall off your toast or cake?
Ah, yes. The inevitable fallout from enjoying something delicious. We call those crumbs, or usually the plural, crumbs.
Crumb?
A crumb is just a tiny piece of bread, cake, biscuit, whatever, that's broken off and fallen. You're eating a croissant, maybe. Someone might say, whoa, get a plate. You're dropping crumbs everywhere.
Happens all the time.
It's a simple word, but essential for describing those little fragments. The evidence of a good snack, perhaps.
Can you use it for other things?
You can, actually, figuratively, like crumbs of comfort or crumbs of information, meaning tiny, small amounts.
Right, so we've covered the morning rituals, the joy of cooking. Now let's shift focus a bit. Let's talk about our own personal tastes, our preferences, and also how we handle eating out. Food is so personal, isn't it? Tied up with culture, memory. How does this advanced language help us express all that? What does it mean for our tastes, the flavors we love or maybe don't love, and those classic situations we run into when dining out?
That's a really important area because it's all about subjective experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how we talk about really strong desire for food or how fast we eat when we're starving. There's a very vivid verb for that speed to inhale. Used for
Oh, no.
food, obviously.
Inhale, like breathing.
Exactly. Literally, it's breathing in. But apply it to food. It creates this powerful image of eating incredibly fast, almost like you're sucking it in, not even chewing.
Wow.
Imagine someone who hasn't eaten all day. He was so ravenous after the hike, he seemed to inhale his sandwich in about 30 seconds.
You really see that picture. It's much stronger than gobble down, maybe?
I think so, yeah. It implies even more speed, almost a lack of control, driven by intense hunger.
That's a great image. And sometimes food isn't just eaten quickly, it's just so good. It has this hold over you. What's the word for that irresistible quality?
There's a lovely, quite informal but very descriptive adjective for that. More-ish.
More-ish, M-O-R-E-ish.
Exactly. It describes something so delicious, you just have to have more. You can't stop. It's that quality that makes you reach for another biscuit, another crisp, even when you know you shouldn't.
We've all been there.
Absolutely. Be careful with those salted caramels. They're incredibly more-ish.
Yeah.
Or this cheese dip is dangerously more-ish. It perfectly captures that addictive quality some foods have. That immediate pleasure that just makes you want more.
More-ish. I love that one. Okay, but not all tastes are instantly gratifying like that. Some flavors are challenging, intense, maybe take time. For those really specific, strong tastes, we've got some precise words too. First one, pungent.
Yes, pungent. It means having a very strong, sharp smell or taste. Usually smell, actually. And it's interesting, it's often not seen as purely positive in general use. But for certain foods, it's exactly what you want.
Like strong cheese.
Exactly. A really strong blue cheese or a very mature cheddar. That powerful, distinctive smell that's pungent, and for people who like it, it's a good thing. The durian fruit is another classic example. People either love it or hate it.
Because of the smell.
Precisely. The durian fruit has a notoriously pungent smell. It describes an intense, bold, assertive smell or taste. Not subtle at all. It demands attention.
And you mentioned the sound earlier, pungent. It does sound quite sharp, doesn't it?
It really does. The phonetics seem to match the meaning somehow.
Okay, so pungent is strong, maybe divisive. What about tastes that most people don't like at first but maybe grow to enjoy?
For that we have a brilliant phrase. An acquired taste.
Acquired taste, meaning you have to learn to like it.
Essentially, yes. It's something you probably won't like the first time you try it. It doesn't seem immediately delicious. But over time, with exposure, your palate develops, and you learn to appreciate it, maybe even love it. Olives are the absolute classic example, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For many people, olives are an acquired taste. Kids often hate them, but adults frequently grow to really enjoy that salty, briny flavor.
I remember pretending to like them as a kid, just to seem grown up.
Exactly. That perfectly illustrates it. Our tastes evolve. We learn to appreciate complexity. It's not just about food, really. It applies to music, art, things that require a bit more effort to appreciate initially.
That makes perfect sense. And you mentioned pretending to like olives to stay for the nibbles. That's another useful word, isn't it?
Yes, nibbles. It's a great noun, very common. It just means small items of food, usually finger food, often served informally before a meal, or maybe with drinks at a party or a bar.
Like crisps, nuts, cheese cubes.
Exactly that sort of thing. Before dinner, I just put out a few nibbles, some crackers, cheese, maybe some olives to keep people going. You see it on menus sometimes, under bar snacks perhaps.
And it relates to the verb to nibble.
It does. To nibble is to take small, delicate bites. So nibbles are those little things you can just pick at. Pleasant little extras.
Great for parties. Okay, shifting to eating out now. Restaurants. There are some classic dilemmas we face, right? Like eating too much beforehand.
Oh, absolutely. Navigating dining out has its own vocabulary. First, there's that common issue. To spoil one's appetite.
Spoil your appetite, like ruining it.
Pretty much. It means eating something before the main meal, which then fills you up or just makes you less hungry for the actual meal. It's that classic warning, don't eat all those crisps now. You'll spoil your appetite for the lovely dinner I've cooked.
Guilty as charged.
We all are sometimes. It perfectly captures that idea of premature satisfaction, often leading to regret later. Very relatable.
So relatable. And often, spoiling your appetite might happen because of another common issue, especially when there's lots of choice.
Yes, leading nicely to a fantastic idiom. One's eyes are bigger than one's stomach, or my eyes are bigger than my stomach.
Huh. Love this one. Meaning you take too much food.
Exactly. You order too much,
Yeah.
or you pile your plate way too high, usually because everything looks so good or you think you're starving, then you can't finish it. Buffets are the classic danger zone for this.
Oh, definitely.
I always have eyes bigger than my stomach at a hotel breakfast buffet. I take pastries, fruit, cooked breakfast, and that I can barely eat half of it. It just perfectly describes that overestimation of hunger or capacity, a very human moment.
Okay, so your eyes were bigger than your stomach. You've got delicious food left on your plate. What do
Yeah.
you do in a restaurant?
Right. The polite and practical solution in many places now is to ask for a doggy bag.
Doggy bag. Even if it's not for a dog.
Huh. Yes, almost always it's for you, not your dog. It's just the traditional name. It's simply a bag, or, more often now, a box that the restaurant gives you to take your leftovers home. Now, historically, this was way more common in the US than the UK,
Right, I've heard that.
but it's definitely becoming much more normal in the UK and other places too, partly because people are more conscious about food waste, which is great. There used to be a bit of a cultural thing in the UK, maybe, about feeling you had to finish everything.
Politeness, maybe.
Perhaps, but now it's perfectly fine if the portions were generous to say, "Excuse me, could I possibly get a doggy bag for this?
Yeah.
It was wonderful, I just couldn't manage it all." It's sensible, less wasteful, and you get to enjoy it again later.
Good to know it's becoming more acceptable everywhere.
Okay.
Okay, last one. That feeling right at the end of a big meal. Maybe you did manage to eat it all. Or maybe you took some home. But you absolutely cannot eat another thing.
Ah, the final state. That feeling is perfectly captured by the adjective stuffed.
Stuffed. Like a teddy bear.
Exactly. Completely full, cannot possibly eat another bite. It's the feeling after a huge Sunday roast or maybe Christmas dinner or just a really generous restaurant meal.
Yeah.
You lean back in your chair, maybe loosen your belt slightly.
Yeah.
And you say, "Oh, no more for me, thanks. I am absolutely stuffed." Or, "I'm stuffed to the gills," even. It signifies total fullness, complete satisfaction, the end of the eating journey for that meal. Hashtag tag Atrofen.
So let's wrap this up. What does all this mean for you, our amazing listener, pushing your English forward?
We've just wandered through this really rich, flavorful landscape, haven't we? Looked at 22 advanced English words and phrases, all about food and drink. From understanding the difference between sipping and gulping down to describing something as mouth-watering or knowing what an acquired taste is, we've tried to explore the language that really lets you talk about these universal experiences with more precision, more color, more flair. This whole deep dive was really designed to give you the tools, the vocabulary to express yourself more fully, more authentically, especially when talking about something as enjoyable and relatable as food. And remember, getting beyond that basic vocabulary isn't just about sounding fancy. It's absolutely vital for showing your true thoughts, your unique experiences, your opinions, letting your personality really come through in English.
Yeah, and that brings up a really important question for you to think about. How are you actually going to use these words? How will you integrate them? Because fluency, true fluency, isn't just about knowing the words exist in your head. It's about using them naturally, confidently, accurately. In conversation, when you write, even just when you're noticing things around you, every single new word, every phrase you learn and then consciously try to use, that's a real step, a step closer to expressing your true self in English. So don't be shy. Experiment. Next time you make a quick meal, try thinking, "I'm whipping this up." If you eat a great snack, think, "Oh, this is really more-ish."
Yeah, make it active.
Exactly. Even with everyday topics like food, that consistent practice, that immersion, that's what makes the biggest difference.
So here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over as you go about your week. The next time you sit down to eat, could be a quick bite at home, maybe a simple one-pot meal you made, or maybe it's a special dinner out where you're hoping your eyes aren't bigger than your stomach. How might knowing these nuanced words actually change how you talk about it, how you describe the experience or your cooking to someone else? Or if you enjoy writing, maybe keeping a journal. How could these terms make your descriptions of food richer, more vivid, more flavorsome? We really hope you'll actively look for opportunities. Observe, listen, and be brave. Try using these new linguistic tools in your daily English. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, if you found it genuinely useful for your English journey, please do take just a second to hit that like button, maybe share it with a friend who's also working on their advanced English. And definitely subscribe to our channel. That way you won't miss any of our future explorations into language. Your support honestly makes a huge difference. It helps us keep making these deep dives, creating more content just like this for you. Thank you so much for joining us on this linguistic culinary adventure today. We really enjoyed it, and we can't wait to delve deeper with you again next time, right here on The Deep Dive.